close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow so empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Alright everybody, so here we are, and let's keep the things really simple and explain everything in the most straightforward manner. Okay, so first of all, if you actually wanna use a sessions lookup. The thing is that especially if once you have an express backend, so at that time you need to have some kinds of middleware, right? So even for middleware you need to create a JWT token. So the main overall process is that as soon as the user logs in, at that time you have to create the JWT token. Then you have to send that JWT token in the form of cookies, and that cookie will be saved on the client side. And then from the client side, so you actually have to send that back to the user, right? The cookie, you have to just include the credentials with the cookie. You have to send the request to the server and all. This is how the overall things go on. But right now what we are doing, we are actually using something called session. What does this do? Session automatically creates the cookie. This is the first thing. When the cookie is created, it automatically saves the cookie on the client side, and it just simply handles everything on its own. So kind of it even sends the cookie and then checks it all. It just does everything. So ultimately the authentication part is done on the server side only, so you don't need to worry about it, though on the client side the cookie is just saved. So this is how the things go on. First of all, the most important thing, you need to get passport. Passport will mainly be used for authentication purpose. You are using express session over here so that you can actually store the session on the client side. And passport will mainly be used so that using passport you will be able to authenticate the user really easily. It provides you strategies and lots of methods, so using that you can just do that. And then this is the strategy, again you got it from passport size. Using this strategy, you can actually with the help of username and password, you can just simply log in. So this is the first thing. Second thing is something you are doing over here. First of all, you are actually giving the session to the this app.use middleware. What does this do? That whenever you will your backend will start running, so this middleware will also run, and when this middleware runs, you are actually giving it the session. And inside that you are just simply telling some of the things like session for the secret for the session is gonna be top secret and all. This should be inside environment variable. Receive false, save initialize true. Again, these things I will be digging deeper into it. And lastly, the cookie that's going to be created and saved in the session. The age max is gonna be around 24 hours. That's gonna be around a day. So this is how the configuration has been just saved over here. Just after that you are initializing the passport and you are using the session inside there. So passport.session, mainly because okay, by default this much is fine, but the thing is that you want to use a passport, and using passport you just want to set the session and all, and that is why you are just simply saying that passport.session. So this is how you can just simply go ahead with the things. And now whenever you will log in, so at that time you will call this authenticate passport.authenticate local. Local simply means you are gonna be logging locally using local strategy, and this particular method will trigger this strategy that you have created over here. What you are actually doing inside this particular one, pretty simple. First of all, you are getting your email and password. That means you will directly get email and password over here, so they are gonna be directly accessible. Once you got your email and password, you can simply check whether the user exists or not. If the user exists and everything's clear, you can just simply return the callback with the user information. Otherwise you can just simply return error if there's any error, or if the user does not exist, in that case you can just simply return false. As soon as you return the user from here, if the user actually exists, your session will be created, because the session that you have described over here or configured over here, at the end you are simply saying that passport.session. That means passport is gonna be using the session. That means passport will have the authority to just simply create the session for you. And as soon as this login thing gets done, the session gets automatically created as soon as this callback gets returned from here. Not only that, for creating the session, first of all you serialize the user that you get, and then you deserialize. Deserialize only works when you are actually when you need the data, and when you are creating the session, at that time you need to serialize the user. Ultimately you need to convert your data in a proper format or in a session format, so that that can actually be saved. And deserialization in the sense you are actually getting the data out of the saved session, right? So it's just like that. So whenever you need the data, you will be deserializing the data that is saved in session, of course, and local session. And whenever you wanna save that, you need to serialize that. So this serialization and deserialization of that particular user will keep happening depending on the situation, whether you are saving it or you are getting it. It's just like that. And this particular middleware will automatically run whenever this particular passport.authenticate method is called. So it's just gonna be automatically triggered. Not only that, whenever you are registering, at that time you are just simply, there's a method called request.login. Once you actually call this method request.login and you actually give the user, it will make sure that your session is created. First of all, this it automatically creates the session, so don't worry about that. So it will first of all create the session. Again, creating the session in the sense it will serialize and deserialize and do all this stuff. So it will make sure that your session is created, and just after that it will even redirect you. So this is the first thing. And lastly, you get a method like that is authenticate is authenticated. So if I click on this one over here, request.is authenticated, this method you get because your session is saved. So from session it will be getting the information. So first of all, you saved you serialized your user inside session, and then you can deserialize and get the information over here, request.is authenticated and all. And if a user is authenticated, you will be rendering this page, otherwise you will not be rendering. You will be just simply rendering the login page. So this is how mainly it goes on. Ultimately, first of all, you initialize it and then you just simply run passport.session, and this is how the things simply go on. So overall, it may seem to be tricky initially, I mean a bit tricky. First of all, of course, you will have to understand it all. And once you have understood it once, then it's gonna be easy peasy. But the thing is that right now the session that we have, that is actually getting stored on the client side. On the client side, in the sense the cookie that is actually being created automatically, that is actually being saved over here. So if you actually go to application, this is the cookie that got actually created, and this is the cookie value. This is something that automatically got created and got saved on the client side. And using this only passport session will be able to authenticate whether the user is logged in or not. So this is the first thing. Having said that, I do need to go through some of more examples, and the same thing we were doing over here. Whenever we were establishing the connection, so at that time we were using express session. Again, why we were using express session? So that we can actually create a session, and session in the sense a cookie, right? So the cookie is created, and there is a starting period and ending period of that cookie. Like, okay, right now it got created and it will be valid till this particular time. So that is called a session. So this express session will automatically save that. And once this is done, so what am I doing over here? First of all, I'm actually initializing, I'm creating a middleware. Inside that, I'm configuring my session. For configuring my session, I'm just simply giving it my secret and all these things. I'm actually giving it the store as well. So I'm just simply saying that my session is going to be stored on this particular store. This is the first thing. Otherwise, by default, it will be stored on the client side. Let's see, even I think if I use the store, it will not be saved on the client side. Again, I'm not quite sure about it, so I will have to check that. And then I'm simply saying that I'm using another middleware, and that is passport.authenticate, and it will be authenticating based on the session. So this is how we are gonna be going ahead, but still there is a problem. The problem is that let's use this site now. Difference in the code when we use store with passport and session, and when we don't. Let's even have a look at the code of it. Meanwhile, let me just have some water. With express session store and passport, persistent user session across restarts. With express session store plus passport, persistent user sessions across restarts. Express session creates a session data stored server side memory by default at Redis Postgres. With custom store passport, serialize user saves user ID and request.session your passport.user. and deserializes reloads the full user object on each request via passport session. Middleware client gets a session ID, cookie server matches it is what they have. Without a session store is stateless, JWT manual tokens, no server side session storage, passport authenticates, sets the JWT cookie token containing user data directly, no serialization, deserialization needed, each request sends token, server verifies signature, decodes independently, no app.session or passport.session, middleware simple but stores more data client side. Alrighty, your register route has critical work preventing login after registration. In the register post handler const user roles references an undefined result variable. Result isn't declared, so request.login.user fails silently. Okay, interesting. Insert result rows now insert result exists. Insert result. That's what I was doing. There is no result. Result is gonna be this. This is going to be fine. Serialize user and deserialize user. Your current setup stores the entire user object, email plus password in the session. Password serialization user and CV stores full user. Well, wrong. Deserialization Node.js lookup. Better implementation. Serialize user.db user.id. So ultimately it will be store only ID, it will be serializing, and password.deserialization user async ID db. I will be getting the ID. Once I got the ID, I will be just checking the database, and then I'm gonna be returning that particular user from there, and that is how this will be. Okay, the thing is that I'm not using store here in this code. How's the session thing is actually working? Your session works. Your sessions work using Express Sessions default memory store even without an explicit store. Express Session automatically creates in-memory memory store when you don't specify one. Wow. How it works? Memory store. Login register, passport authenticate or request.login, that is right. So first of all, when I log in, at that time passport authenticator runs. If I register, request.login runs. Serialize user stores full user object in a session as request.session.passport.user. So request.session.passport.user, it stores full user object in session. Then browser gets session ID cookie this. So ultimately browser only gets the session ID, that is the cookie. Got that? Next request cookie sent. Memory store finds session, deserialize a user, request.user populated, request.is authenticated, returns to. Wow, I mean pretty simple. What is happening over here? First of all, either you log in or you register. When you log in, at that time while logging passport.authenticate runs, while registering request.login runs. Once these runs, so ultimately you serialize your data. So like as soon as you either logged in or you registered, at that time you got the user's information, right? So at that time you serialize the user. As soon as you got the user information, you just simply serialize the user. Serialization in the sense you just created a session. Session means in a format it just simply stored user data somewhere. So it stores a full user object in session as a request.session.passport.user. So you create a session. Inside that session there is an object called passport, and then inside that there is an object called user. Inside that particular thing you store your whole user. So ultimately whenever you log in or whenever you register, at that time a session is created. Where is the session created? Session itself is created on the server side. Okay, and then after that browser only gets the ID of that particular session, and that is saved as a cookie. Got that? So as soon as you logged in, session got created in the request, the ID of that particular session got sent to the front end side, and whenever you are making any request back from the front end side, so you will have to include credentials, of course. At that time that ID is coming to the that particular session, and then with the help of that ID you will find the right session, and once you got the session you will actually deserialize it. Serialization in the sense you created the session and you serialize the user in the session. Ultimately you saved the user information in the session, and deserializing in the sense getting the user information out of the session. So you will just get the user information, and once you just got the user information, so ultimately request.user gets populated. That means in request.user you will be getting the user information. How will you get it? Because this request.user got populated because of the deserialization of the session. It's just like that. And after that, whenever you are gonna call request.isAuthenticated, if the user is actually authenticated, that means deserialization worked and you got your user information. At that time it's gonna be true, that means user does exist. And if it returns false, that means user does not exist. Not only that, you can even use something called request.user that will simply give you the information of the user. I hope it's clear. Alrighty, request.session, your session object is structure. It actually looks like this: request.session. Inside that I have cookie, original max age is gonna be this. So ultimately it actually stores the max age. Then I have passport, inside that I have user, and inside that I have ID, email, and all these things. Entire user, that is not the good way. We have to just store the, we don't have to store the password, and we can store the ID and all. And not only that, it does it must have the question is that where is the ID, cookie ID. Memory store limitations: sessions lost on server restart. Sessions lost on server restart. That means whenever I'm gonna be restarting the server, the session will be lost. Yeah, that is right. Data is stored in process memory. Single server only, won't scale horizontally. In the sense, the session that you actually created, that is limited to that particular server. So in case that server is stopped, or you want horizontal, that means you want to add many servers, then how will you check whether that particular user is authenticated or not? So at that time you will face issues, or it will be impossible to do that, and that is why we actually give stores from our own side. So instead of using memory store, we will be creating our own store, or maybe in some kind of data we are gonna be saving that, and from there we will come to know whether the user actually exists or not. Single server only, won't scale horizontally, fine for development, not for production. Make it production ready. Production ready in the sense, I will use the session. The store is gonna be PZ session. The store can be anything, depends, and then the remaining things are gonna be same. So it is just like that. So overall things are great. The question is, why am I using this? I am already using session, then why do I need to use this? Let's see. Passport initialize and passport session serve distinct purposes despite your existing session middleware. That's great. Let's even know more about that. Let's keep the water aside. And passport initialize sets a passport score request object, request.passport session tracking and authentication state management. Sets up passport score request object, request.passport session tracking and authentication state management. Without it, passport can't process any authentication. strategies won't run. Request.user won't exist. Request.is authenticated returns undefined and runs on every request. First of all, this thing is clear that passport.initialize actually initializes the passport. You are using the session, that is great. Session is going to be used over there, but before that you have to initialize the passport so that you can actually use the power of the passport, and that is why this is needed. Passport.session only runs deserialize user to populate request.user from your session data. It reads the request.session passport user, set during login via serialize user, and calls your deserialization user function. Without it, a request.is authenticated always returns false even after successful login. Alrighty, so the thing is that this particular section, app.use passport.session, this is only used for deserializing the user, that is it. So over here, if you actually have a look, app.use session creates a request.session, that is right, it simply creates the session. Missing passport initialize, no request, that is fine. Login strategy runs serialization user, request.session.passport.user, ultimately user got created. Next request, missing passport session, missing deserialization never called, so request.user undefined and request.authenticated. Okay, so app.use session creates session capability, that is right, creates a session capability. Ultimately session gets created, and then using serialization you can actually save the session in the session that actually got created. So you can save the user information, you can just serialize the user information and save it in the session. And using passport.initialize, passport setup requires session, passport setup requires session. Ultimately session needs to be created before you just call this, and at the end session persists requires both above. So if you wanna call it, it requires both of them. Having said that, it simply helps in deserialization of the session. Test without each. Okay, got that. So ultimately what happens that first of all, initialization is clear. It simply initializes, like gets the setup ready, or even in better way, what can I make it? What can I name it? That's gonna be called what can I make it? Passport setup. So ultimately makes the passport setup ready, gets the passport setup ready. It's just like this. And then passport.session, it simply helps deserialize the user session, as simple as that. It helps the deserialize user session, or ultimately helps deserializing the user session, right? So let's even just have a look at that. So deserialize user never called, missing a passport.session, this never gets called. So ultimately runs only runs deserialize user, So let's make it better. Runs deserialize user, and then runs deserialize user to get the user information, and that is it. One thing I can do over here, create a summary where you are mentioning the flow of the working of passport, as simple as that. Let's try this thing out. I need to have it first of, oh come on, this is crazy. Let's go with this. Let's see, have a look at this. So first of all, they are simply saying that middleware passport authentication flow summary. First of all, middleware setup, every request, browser request, express session, passport initialize, passport session. First of all, you get the request from the browser side. After that, the request goes through the session that you have created on the side. After that, passport gets initialized. Once it went through the express session, going through express session, it actually got the session using the ID, the cookie ID that you actually got from the client side. And then passport, it initializes the passport, and then passport session actually gets used as well. So initialize will get the setup ready, passport setup ready, and passport session will make sure that it is actually able to call deserialize user on this express session, so that it can actually get the value of the user, information of the user out of the express session. After that, post login passport authenticate local strategy verify email passport, and this db query bcrypt compare valid serialization serialize user gets serialized, and then request dot session passport user, and ultimately once the user gets serialized, so ultimately request dot session dot passport mein user data gets saved. After that, browser gets session id cookie, ultimately because inside to session it gets saved, so ultimately you get the session id, and the session id is browser gets the session id and redirects to the /secret. That is fine. Then protected out access, so whenever you get /passport dot session middleware deserialization, first of all, as soon as you reach any one of them, first of all deserialization will happen. Ultimately session data, you will get the request.user from there, it actually gets populated, and as soon as you got that, so request.is authenticated will be true, that means it will render, otherwise no session, redirect to /login. That is fine. Complete flow request, client sends a cookie just like this. Express session finds memory store session, express session finds memory store session. Passport initialize and sets up the request passport, that is right. Passport session calls deserialization, request user id and email. If user authenticated, access granted. Key session object, the request session is gonna be equals to passport user, okay, and id is gonna be this, message is gonna be this. Session provides storage, memory store. The thing is that you can use the memory store, or you can use the store created by you, or like you got from the outside packages and all. That the benefit is that you can just horizontally scale easily, and not only that, you can actually, if your server stops for some reason, you will be able to verify the user again, because you are not using the memory store of the server, rather you are actually using the storage somewhere of some provider. Then passport initialize enables strategies, passport session persists enables strategies, yeah. Passport session persists the request.user across requests session, that is right. Request.login, okay, this creates a seamless request.authenticated manual, that's fine. So let's simply copy and paste this whole thing because this is important, I must say rather really important. Control Shift C, and I'm gonna be actually keeping it here. You should be able to understand the overall flow. If you're not able to understand, that is fine. Nobody gets able to understand in the first go, so you have to just ask many questions and all, and this is how the things are gonna be going ahead. But overall, if you just do your level best, slowly you will start understanding the things, exactly how the things are actually working, and then you will start getting the idea exactly how it is actually working behind the scene. Let me change the color of it, and that's gonna be just white, or maybe make it pink. What is the shortcut? If I actually change the theme, it's actually gonna be looking like this. That is not even bad, I'm happy with that. So this is the overall flow of it, that's great. And then from here I start learning about it, and this is how things simply go on. Fine. environment variables. I will be learning about it. Level 3 authentication, that's gonna be all about OAuth, and even I have done that. Interesting. So I will be learning about it tomorrow, that is for sure. Just a minute, give me a second. Alrighty, let's continue. A bit more, then authentication is gonna be covered here, mainly about authentic. Okay, just a sec. Level 3 authentication, OAuth is fine, but I don't really need this. Let me even change this first of all. The dark reader, this is gonna be turned on, and after that I have this particular thing, OAuth open authorization, fine. And you have to go through the dashboard, set up your app. What does this mean? So it's not needed. Direct authentication. Okay, I know. Step login. Then continue as done. Facebook receives the data and all. Fine. Sends you the data access token. It sends you the access token. So exchange auth for access token. So Facebook, you make a request. Okay, you send that. Then Facebook sends you the auth code, and then exchange auth code for access token. Okay, it turns out I'm missing something over there. So let's get all the pages back again. So first of all, set up your app. Over here we just simply set up the pages. It's good to have it over here, and once that is done, then redirect it to authenticate. Okay, from here, then user logs in using that Facebook account and all. Okay, after that user grants permission. Yeah, that is right. After that receives authorization code. So user receives the authorization code. Just after that user actually sends the access token to the Facebook, and you have your access token, and now you can just simply use that. Let's see even how it's gonna be going on. By the way, this is how we are gonna be using that. Ultimately over here I'm going to be using where is that, submit Google strategy, and I'm gonna be using two strategies over here, and especially when I'm using Google strategy, so I will be getting access token and refresh token and all. Okay, all these things were especially when I worked with BetterAuth, these things were I didn't have to worry about these things, but over here I will have to worry about it. So tomorrow is gonna be the day when I'm gonna be actually learning it, and once I have learned about it, then I will actually create an application that's gonna be just normal chat application. In that both the things are gonna be there, like login with username and password, ultimately email and password, and log the Google and GitHub, and maybe sometime Facebook and all. Try to add as much as I can. So it's just gonna be like that. So why not? Soon I will be getting it done, and then React actually comes from here. Alright. So one more thing is remaining. That is something that I will be focusing on tomorrow, because right now of course it's not gonna be possible for me to do that. So let's simply close this and one more thing. Overall idea I got that, but the thing is that over here I'm not using authenticate. I mean initialize and passport. One more thing. Let's go here and question, why am I not using these two here? app.use passport authenticate session replaces passport session, but you still need a passport initialize. Your code is broken without it. Is that so? So passport authenticate and session, it simply tells that you have to use that particular, ultimately session is used, it simply replaces the session, and then I still need to use initialize, right? So without it, it won't work. So static expression session needs initialization first, so I'll have to initialize it, and then after that okay, these things are replaceable, so either I can use passport authenticate and session, otherwise passport.session, both of them are going to be fine over there. Always required, fine. Okay, so let's simply check this thing out as well. I think that's some being used somewhere or the other. I do have that particular app. Turns out I have deleted that, so let's open files right now and get that back. So from trash, actually I will be getting what? From trash I will be getting this authentication section. Oh, I've lost my mind. I can't even get that back now. My mind is not working. I wanted to recover that, and I deleted everything. Never mind, I can still go through the documentation. Introduction, sign page, okay, let's do one thing. Click on introduction, and right now I just want to go here in this repository over here, and from here I can check. So where I have to go, I have to go to routes and auth.js. Is that gonna be? No, I actually have to go to app.js over here, and inside this what I want to check that okay, this thing is fine, this thing is also fine, but express URL going to be part of this session. Authenticate session. Why am I not using initialize here? Your code is broken without. Okay, no man, it works. Your code is broken without passing it, despite using password authentication. It makes it broken, wow. It works. I got it from here. The official passport to do express like we use passport initialize. Let me explain this standard program. Okay. Have I been live for 2 hours? टाइम का भी नहीं पता चलता है. मुझे लगा I just came live, right? पता नहीं. Let's take a break for 5 minutes and then I'll be back.